Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rays Rewind with El Bushman and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. Once again, I'm the great El Bushman, and joining me as usual is Drew. You can find us on the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind YouTube page. Hit that subscribe and notification bell when new episodes drop, which will be dropping even more frequently now since we're getting closer to the season. We've got a great show for you today. Our first guest coming in is the one, the only. You can catch him every day on Foul Territory, Erik Kratz. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Thanks for having me on, boys.
Well, thanks for dropping by. The season's almost here. We've got a couple of weeks left. Pitchers and catchers do reports. But let's get into the Rays. You know, out of all the moves they've made during the offseason, you know, they've let a lot go, got a lot of stuff back. I kind of want to get your thoughts on how they've been operating the past kind of month and a half with all the things that have been going down with their offseason moves.
I mean, you know, I think there's a lot to be pissed off if you're a Rays fan, especially, you know, just another jersey that you had hanging in your closet that you knew was inevitably going. But like, that's not like, to me, that's like negative Nelly stuff.
Right.
To me, the fact that you get to look at a career that Brandon Lau had with the Rays out of nowhere. Not like, oh man, I can't believe we drafted Brandon Lau. Like this is going to be awesome. Like, no, he was able to flourish in a system that is still there in Tampa. It's a system that enables players that are maybe like overlooked to just like sit and be the guy that they are. And Brandon Lau said, you know what, this is how I'm going to hit. And I think it's going to be successful in the big leagues. Good for the Rays for seeing that early, but also this is why I loved my time with the Rays. I know I sucked hitting, but it was one of those things that they let you be who you are. They let you figure out what is the best you. It doesn't mean that they're sitting back and going, hey, whatever happens, happens. No, they put guys like Kevin Cash at manager to be able to facilitate the coaches underneath them. Matt Cutrero was the bench coach, I think, when I was there, or whatever the titles are. The titles are always different. He was able to facilitate to the other coaches. Chad Mottola is one of my good friends that I played with early in my career, and he was late in his career as a hitting coach. He's not just like, this is one way to hit. This is the only way. He's like, no, I know it's hard to hit in the big leagues. And Snyder's obviously done what he's done with the pitching. Like, that's ridiculous. But it's not just one of those guys. It's a whole organizational philosophy that we're okay trying something that may not work for the betterment of the team, but also for the betterment of that player and getting the most out of them. So I say all that to say the last few months, while it sucks that, you know, you lose a guy like Brandon Lau or Josh Lowe's not going to be running around in the outfield. There's a lot of promise at the beginning. Baseball is about winning. And the Rays didn't have the success last year that everybody hoped. But I know the organization is pushing in the direction to win again. Everybody's going to pick them fourth or fifth in the division. And people are like, oh, man, you know, end of the year, you never know with the Rays. There is one consistent factor with the Rays. And seeing the organization for 5 or 6 weeks when I was there, it's how they treat the people in it. And when you do that on a consistent day in and day out basis, you're going to have success. You're going to figure out how to have success with not the biggest names, with not the, you know, I think it's one more year of Yandy Diaz's biceps. You know, you lose Fairbanks. Everybody can sit there and go, yes, I get it. You know, we lost all those guys. But the org is like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to find the next Pete Fairbanks, the next Brandon Lau, the next Josh Lowe.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fans, especially like the ex-GMs and the Twitter GMs, I should say, the Facebook GMs that, we gave up this much and they don't look like they're going to be competitive for 2026 because Erik Neander comes out and said, hey, we're going to give up a lot to be competitive in the long game? Because it looks like they're playing the long game. I mean, 2026 on paper, the team is, for me, in my opinion, got a lot of question marks still in the rotation. The lineups, to me, the lineup's not scary at all to compete in the AL East. Obviously, there could be a work stoppage in 2027, and the main priority for the new ownership is, the stadium, getting the stadium deal done by 2029. If you could say it to anything to the Rays fans for 2026, what would that be? Just calm down, trust the process, or what would you say to them?
I can easily say this because it means two meanings. Stay cool. You're gonna be back inside. You're not gonna be sweating like you're not gonna be sweating like Francisco Cervelli at a drug test. Like the inside, it's gonna be air conditioned. You sit there and you go, "Oh, this is gonna be we're not." The Rays will never be back at the early year Rays, where like they are terrible. They're going to be the worst. Rays fans were talking at the end of the season about making a run. I think they beat the Mariners in like a 5-game series. They swept them out of Steinbrenner Field. Like, the Rays are going to be there. Do they have enough? I agree with you. I think they're short. And I don't think they're short because of the lack of the team ability, because there's a lot of young guys that are going to be able to step up and really flourish because of the fact that some of the guys left the lineup, and they're going to be able to step in and do well. But because of the fact that the American League East got a lot freaking better.
Yep.
And that happens every year, I know. But the Rays are always there every year. So to me, go back out to the Trop. Enjoy it. If you hate it, enjoy it for the last few years that it's there. And understand and anticipate the anticipation of a new stadium, what that means for the Rays organization. I hope it doesn't mean they're leaving St. Pete, but that's probably a completely different show. Legalistic and ownership stuff. But you also have to understand that Erik Neander is Andrew Friedman in a smaller market. And Andrew Friedman came from the Rays. I get it. And now he's got billions of dollars to spend, and it's unfair, all that stuff. But the way that both those guys treat people is the way that you build an organization, not just for this season, which I don't think it's just a complete wash of a season, but also for the future. And so that's where I think Rays fans need to be excited. And also the fact that the Rays in the last few years have been putting contracts out there that are equivalent to contracts that guys are getting other places in big markets. And have they hit yet? No, they have not. Have things gone the Rays' way in some of those cases? No. But just be patient. It will come, I promise.
Okay. I wouldn't beat yourself up too much about not hitting as a catcher with the Rays. That's kind of like their MO at the catcher position. Yeah, you're a perfect fit, honestly. If you can't hit, that's exactly what they look for. So don't beat yourself up over that, Erik. You're a perfect fit for us down here. And to your point about Brandon Lau, I was looking him up while you were talking earlier according to Baseball Reference, he is number 8 in the all-time top 12 players of Rays history with a career WAR of just under 18. So to your credit, or to your point, the Rays, they do get the most out of the most unlikely. And you talk about a power hitter that doesn't look like a power hitter. I mean, it's just honestly, I distinctly remember in 2018, it's either his first full season or just when he came up, he hit an upper deck shot in Toronto to right field, like third deck. I mean, just it's incredible how he does that. I don't know. I'm going to miss him this year for sure. I'm curious. You mentioned, and you kind of talked about this a little bit. There's always a lot of turnover with the Rays, and we know that. And they've been able to keep some guys around the last handful of years, like Brandon, until this year. Yandy's been here for now going on 6 years. Pete Fairbanks was here for a while. Like there's some guys that have kind of stayed around, but they're always reinventing the roster. How challenging from a player perspective and like a clubhouse perspective, with your experience in the league, like how challenging is that turnover and how in the clubhouse? And then how do you feel like the Rays handle that better or do that turnover better than most other teams? How do they make that work? And is it more the communication up front from the front office, from Kevin Cash, or is it just, the vibe in the clubhouse? Like how did Tampa make that work more than other teams, I guess?
Well, as much as I sucked at hitting, I'm a pro at turnover. When you play for 14 different organizations over a 19-year career, yeah, I'm a pro at turnover. I get the whole dynamic. And it really is just about putting the right guys in the clubhouse. What does Jake Mangum mean? Yeah, every fan's like, I love watching him run. Like he's going to bunt. He's going to beat out an infield single. Yes. But what he brings to the clubhouse is far more important. That idea, that mental aspect of going to the ballpark every day to have fun, to enjoy your time. Yes, he has to be good on the field, but he's not going to win you a World Series. He's going to be a piece of that. And that's what I think the Rays do such a good job of, is finding those guys and understanding how they piece into this clubhouse. Now, I know Jake's gone. He's with the Pirates now, but I brought him up because of all the positive character traits that I hear about him. And you can't be perfect on your character traits. And I think it's something that they go after guys who fit into their culture, in the sense of, what is that culture? Well, it's a little bit different when Kevin Kiermaier is the guy who's doing the post-game celebration. It's a little bit different when Blake Snell pitches on games that, the clubhouse looks a little different. But the reality is, it's all dudes who know how to treat every single one of the guys in the clubhouse with respect, to work hard. And at the end of the day, you're going to get the most out of every player, because the reality is there's not that big of a gap between the superstars and the good players. Now, the superstars and me, there's a larger gap. So what do I bring when I come into the Rays clubhouse for 6 weeks? I just be me. And the Rays are top-notch, 100% you be you. Now, does that mean that they missed on Wander Franco? No. It just means that they're not perfect. It means that they're not perfect on the character side of it. But when you come in, they're not like, hey, I've been in organizations where, hey, you can't say that. Okay, second day, it's like, hey, you can't say it. Well, what do you want me to say? How do you want me? Do you want me to be the person I'm replacing for 6 weeks? Well, I can't be him. I'm going to be me, and I'm not going to be disrespectful in any way or shape or form. But the Rays go, we want you to be you. When we talk about Brandon Lau, he was one of the guys that when I got to the Rays, I remember watching him in the cage, and I'm like, how on earth does this guy do what he does from that tiny little body of his? You're talking about a guy that's just absolutely smashing baseballs in the cage. And if they had tried to make him be, maybe more of your archetype person who's 5'10" and doesn't weigh 230 pounds, then he may have been a slap at the left type of hitter. But they let him try to maximize who he is. And it's the same way with their character, same way with their personality. And that's why the Rays usually hit on that kind of stuff. And there's a few wins here or there throughout the season with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned bringing in players that, they can be themselves. I know you guys talked to Cedric Mullins this past week on your show, Foul Territory. Bringing in a veteran guy like Cedric into a new team, how important is it for him as the new guy, but even though he's the veteran coming onto this team, how important is it for him to come in and say, hey, I'm going to be a part of this group. I'm going to give you my leadership, my mentorship. How important is that for him to come in and kind of hey, this is who I am coming into the Rays?
It's huge. It's huge. And, they're going to have a different conversation with him coming in. I think he's making 5.6 or 6 point something million. And he's going to go roam in center field. He's going to go roam in left or right field. I'm not sure where they're going to deploy him, but they are expecting a lot more of him. So maybe there's a conversation with Eric Neander, hey, we just want you to be you. We want you to be a leader. They're not going to say, hey, Kevin Kiermaier used to do this after every game, and you play center field, so he played center field, so you guys have to be the same. It's not at all possible. But what a vet can do is just be available. If you sign a guy for $5 or $6 million to come into your team like the Rays, and he shows up at spring training and he gets his work in and he leaves, maybe you're not getting the most value out of him. But having Seti on yesterday and the different guys that I've talked to with the Orioles, like this guy's a pro. And when you have a guy who has won, but he's also seen rebuilds, like he's seen everything. He saw the Orioles suck to like, oh man, we're the best. And then for whatever reason, it kind of fell apart a little bit. And you have a veteran like that. There's an expectation of how it looks to prepare to win and how it looks to prepare to play just 9 innings and that's it, and not, and end the day. And that's why I think a signing like that, a lot of teams aren't making those signings. A lot of teams aren't bringing a guy in like Cedric Mullins, hoping he has a bounce back year. They're going for the guy who's got, he had 35 home runs a few years ago. Like we can tap into that. No, they want Cedric Mullins to, yes, have a good year. Cedric Mullins wants to have a good year. But they want him to be able to continue to nourish and cultivate these younger guys and also show the organization, hey, this is what happens when we get swept in a 3-game series. You can bounce back and sweep the next 3-game series because you can't let yesterday affect today, but prepare today like you're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah, when they signed him, I was like, okay, this could be like it's a low risk, high reward type of signing. They've done that plenty of times in the Rays too as well. And I always look at the Rays as an island of misfit toys because of they seem how to bring in players and then to make them 10 times better when they come over to the organization. So I hope it pans out. I mean, he's going in and being that starting center field. So we'll see.
Yeah. He constantly. He made. I would always feel like he makes so many plays against the Rays, out in center field that I was not only glad that he wasn't on the Orioles anymore. I know he got traded midseason last year, but to know that he's going to be patrolling center field because the Rays, they just desperately needed like really good defensive, like professional outfielders, right? Like Cameron Meisner was a great fielder last year, but couldn't swing it very well. I mean, Jake Mangum, great arm, all the things, but slap hitter, redundant with Chandler Simpson. Like they just needed somebody to come in. And I mean, Cedric, I believe, had a 30 season one, 2021. Okay, I was gonna say 2019. So I mean, not that like I go out and expect him to have a 30 season, but it's in there. And you would think he's motivated after a down year last year to come in and make some noise. And and who knows where they're at in the deadline. I mean, he could be somebody that, that, hey, 1-year deal, professional. We just talked about veteran guy who's been there, could help a playoff team down the road if the Rays aren't in it, and so he's definitely going to be motivated. So I'm excited to see where he's at. We talked about the Rays. I think we're not, Rays colored glasses, if you will, right? We see this team being down, probably expecting to finish at the bottom of the division. I don't think you're going to see a prognosticator out there picking the Rays higher than 4th, maybe, probably 5th in the AL East. But you mentioned like they're always there. And it seems like when no one counts on them, that's when they really surprise people. And that's when they're really more, almost more competitive. What do you think at the end of the season, if the Rays are there competing for a playoff spot, maybe grabbing that last wild card, what have you? What do you think it is that's gone right for the team? Like, what do you think it is that has to go right for them in 2026 to be there at the end? And I know it could be a lot, but like if you just had to like maybe distill it down to like 1 or 2 things, what do you think is the main like top things that would have to go right for them this year to have that kind of success?
I mean, I'm gonna go like I like starting at like ground level. Ground level for the Rays is they're gonna find bullpen arms. Like they're going to. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, this guy in Double-A, Robert Suarez Jr. the third is, becomes the closer. That's just what the Rays do. They go and find somebody and they put guys in situations. Sometimes I think they injure too many pitchers, but that could be for another debate. But I think it is, they're going to do that. So they're not going to be there in the playoffs because they found this like vaunted 3 or 4 pieces in the bullpen. Yeah, they're going to. Like that's just what they do. Like They freaking throw out Diego Castillo and Jose Alvarado before they're those guys. They get, I can keep going down the list. To me, the Rays season, and this might be too much for a guy who's been oft injured, but I saw him make his playoff debut, Mr. McClanahan.
Don't get me started. I can't discuss. Where
does he end up?
Yep.
I picked him to be a Cy Young winner. I'm not sure which year it was. And it's not because saw other people saying that. It's because I saw the ball come out of this dude's hand. And it's like, some guys, cool. He threw 100. Oh, cool. He sits 94 to 97 from the left side. Like, it's how the ball comes out of his hand. It almost looks like he holds on to the ball longer than other guys. When your mind has seen thousands of hundreds of thousands, maybe even over 1 million pitches in my life, and something sticks out, you're like, whoa. Like I saw Sean Manaea when he first got drafted and he came to big league camp with the Royals. Everybody was throwing, and he was letting go of the ball like a foot out farther than everybody else. I was looking down the line of all 6 pitchers throwing, and I'm like, whoa, that's something different. He's gone on and had a decent little career. Same with McClanahan. And I think if the Rays are there at the end, they got to do the basics. Yes, they got to throw strikes. They got to do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Shane McClanahan will be a Cy Young candidate if they are there at the end of the season. That's the only way. And I know it's what? How on earth is this dude going to ever turn your hat around, you nerd? How's he ever going to make 30 starts? Like, I get it. That's how to me. That's how hard.
I'm hoping for it. Because me,
Rays fan.
I'm the guy that's going. You know what? I hope he is able to pitch this season, get as much value out of him as you can, and maybe flip him at the deadline. But because he's been injured so much, I'm all for Sugar Shane. Like I am. I just. The injuries have piled up to where it's like I can't trust this guy as of yet because we haven't seen him pitch in 2 years.
Yeah.
But this is where I hope people, when they come and watch Foul Territory, they can get a glimpse into how a player thinks. Shane McClanahan's not going, man, I hope I can get 90 innings this year. No, like this is the time of year in January where me as a hitter, I'm like, holy cow, I might make an all-star team. I am the best player ever. So getting in that mindset, that psyche of a player starting a season, does Shane McClanahan, did he go into the offseason healthy? Or was he rehabbing for 2 of the 4 months that he should have been lifting? They should have been like at 100%. That's where the season will tell you how you felt going into the offseason. And I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm saying if they're in the playoff hunt, you have a Cy. I'm glad you agree with me, Evan. But
yeah.
You have a Cy Young candidate in there, and then the Rays figure out they might have 5 guys who are 3s and 4s in their rotation, and that's okay because you have a horse. Look at what the freaking Tigers did the last 2 years. Yep. And I'm not saying he's going to be Tarek Skubal. Like, everybody needs to sow their role. I'm saying when you have a horse up at the top of your rotation, man, it shortens the season because every 5 days you're like, Shane's day, we're good.
Yeah.
Erik, we're going to get you out of here on this one last question. They've got about 15 to 20 million left to spend before the season starts. Do you see them making a couple of more smaller moves to plug in those kind of question mark holes on the team before spring training starts? Or do you see them kind of just seeing how it goes? I know Drew's shaking his head, but do you see them starting spring training and then making a couple moves before opening day for the regular season?
I was waiting for Drew's comment because he was
I'm waiting for them to sign Zach Littell so I can just be, it's the ultimate. Zach Littell, great. Hey, he's great. I'm sure it'd be great in the Trop again. That is the least exciting move I think any the Rays could make. It would do. I'm just waiting for them to be like, hey, here's 2 years, 20 million, Zach. And it's just, I don't know. I'm ready. It's just a running joke that we have on the show. I don't know, but they'll just pocket that, man. They're gonna do the waiver wire. Come on, you know that.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's exciting. You asked me for my answer, what I think they would do with it. Here's where we just talked about the starting pitching. Here's where you make a season more palatable for an offense that I think will be learning in the big leagues is you go get Zach Gallen. You go get Zach Gallen because of the fact that what are you going to be calling up? What are you going to have in your rotation? You're going to have younger pitching. And Zach Gallen is going to be right now, in my opinion, like I love sending gifts to people. I don't send emojis. Like I feel like less of a man when I send an emoji, but I send gifts. It's that gif where the pit bull is like growling at the cage. Like you're what to me, I think Zach Gallen is pissed. He didn't have a good year and he's had freaking 5 great years as a starting pitcher. And then he has 1 bad year. And now everybody's like, nah, qualifying offers connected to you. To me, the Rays are a good fit for that because it's probably going to be 20. It'll be all your money.
Yeah.
It'll be all your money, but it'll be the biggest splash because he's one knows how to prepare. We'll be able to teach the young guys. 2, the qualifying offer, screw that if you're the Rays. You guys, the Rays develop so many good players without them being number 1 picks, without them being second-round picks. They produce players without it being, top of the order picks. And 3, if you don't think you're going to be in it at the end, if you don't think there's going to be a chance at the end, he is motivated and will want to be traded, or the Rays will want to be able to trade him. And there will be so much value in trading him because there will not be a qualifying offer even available to him at the end of the season. So it's a win-win for the Rays because some of these guys don't get traded at the trade deadline because, well, you're going to give him a qualifying offer or, so I need at least a first-round pick value for this guy. No, you can't give him a qualifying offer because he already has that attached this year. So when he goes out and has a 2.5 ERA, he makes another all-star team, all of a sudden he might be the first starting pitcher off the board at the trade deadline. And is that what you want to go into? No, but it's an incredible fallback plan because it's a half a year of all the young pitchers figuring out or learning what it's like to prepare. Had they had a Zach Gallen for a Taj Bradley, to me, I think his maturity, his like preparation and everything, we heard it come out last year about how he's like, you know what? I didn't really read the scouting reports. I just kind of went into it. And you're like, huh? What? Especially with Snyder there. Snyder's like one of the most prepared guys that could have done that. But when it's coming from a peer, it means so much different than from a coach, no matter how respected Snyder is as a coach.
All right. That. Yeah. That would be exciting. I take my answer back, Eric. If they're signing Zach Gallen, I'm all for it. Plus, they got that extra pick from the Orioles in the trade for Boz. So maybe they're like, we can afford to, hey, we'll let one go. It's all right. We got
Eric Neander. Listen to Erik Kratz because he has. Yeah,
we spell our names the same.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something there. I think.
Listen to our podcast because he's got something cooking for you.
He already does. We already know that he's subscribed and he's got that notification bell.
Awesome. Well, Eric, thanks for popping on the show, man. Once again, Erik Kratz, you can find him on Foul Territory, broadcasting live every single day on Foul Territory TV. For us here, Rays Rewind, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. We'll catch you later. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with El Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.